Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something I think many of us grapple with daily. How do you get more done without feeling, completely overwhelmed? We're diving into the core principles of Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog, trying to pull out those really actionable insights, stuff that can help you, our listener, get more control over your tasks and, well, achieve more.
That's right. And our source material here is the full audiobook transcript of Eat That Frog, which you can find over on the Be the Change YouTube channel.
Right.
It's a huge book translated into 42 languages, apparently, and it lays out these 21 principles for basically beating procrastination and boosting your productivity.
And let's be real, feeling swamped is kind of the default these days, isn't it? You've got work stuff, personal life, emails. Oh, God, the emails. Social media pulling at you. Feels like you're always behind.
Yeah, that feeling of never quite being caught up. That's exactly the problem Tracy tackles head on. But his core idea isn't just about doing more things faster. The reality, he says, is you'll never be completely caught up. There's always more.
So it's not about becoming some kind of productivity machine that juggles everything.
No, not really. It's more about gaining control by changing how you think about it all, how you work, how you handle that constant flood of responsibilities.
Okay.
It boils down to making conscious choices, stopping the less important stuff, you know, and really focusing your energy on the things that make a real difference, prioritizing.
And Brian Tracy, he's been studying this stuff for a long time, hasn't he? What's his background? Why should we listen to him?
Oh, yeah, he's got serious credibility. We're talking over 40 years dedicated to studying time management. He didn't just invent this stuff. He really immersed himself in the work of giants like Peter Drucker, Alec McKenzie, Stephen Covey.
The big names.
Absolutely. Read hundreds of books, thousands of articles. But crucially, he tested these ideas himself in the real world.
Like how?
Well, his own track record is pretty impressive. Became a top salesperson in his company within a year, a manager the year after, VP by age 25, worked in like 22 different jobs, built several companies himself, and he speaks to huge audiences, like 250,000 people a year sharing this stuff. So it's grounded in experience.
Okay, that's solid. So what's the fundamental insight, the big idea behind the book?
The core message, the thing he comes back to again and again, is your ability to concentrate, to focus single-mindedly on your most important task, do it well, and this is key, finish it completely.
Finish it, not just start it.
Right. That ability, he argues, is the real key to success, achievement, getting respect, status, even happiness. It's about that power of focused completion.
And the book is practical, like things we can actually do tomorrow.
Totally practical. That's the focus. Proven, fast-acting strategies, things you can apply right away to get more productive, perform better, increase your value both at work and, in your personal life too, getting better results faster.
Which brings us to the title, Eat That Frog. It's memorable, I'll give him that. What does it actually mean?
Yeah, it sticks with you. Your frog, according to Tracy, is your biggest, most important task.
Oh.
It's the one you're most likely to procrastinate on, right? The one you kind of dread. But it's also the one that, if you do it, will have the greatest positive impact on your life or work.
So the principle is?
Tackle that frog first thing in the morning, before anything else. Just get it done.
Wow, okay. Dive right into the hardest thing.
Exactly. It's not just about checking a box. It builds momentum, conquers that initial resistance, and sets a positive, productive tone for the whole day.
So face the fear first thing. I like it. Are there rules to this? Frog eating.
He gives two main rules. First, if you have two frogs, eat the ugliest one first. Meaning, if you have a couple of really important, maybe difficult tasks, tackle the biggest, hardest, most crucial one first. Get that major win out of the way early. Makes everything else seem easier.
Makes sense. What's rule number 2?
Rule 2. If you have to eat a live frog, it doesn't pay to sit and look at it for too long.
Just do it.
Just do it. Take action immediately. Don't overthink. Don't delay. Just start. That first step breaks the procrastination cycle.
Getting started seems like a huge theme here. Is this just about quick fixes or building habits?
Oh, habits are huge for Tracy. He stresses that your long-term success really depends on the habits you build. Setting priorities, beating procrastination, starting those important tasks. These are habits you can learn.
Learnable. How?
Through practice, repetition, until it becomes automatic, like second nature. It takes conscious effort at first, though.
And what's the reward? Why push ourselves to eat these frogs?
Well, there's a biological payoff. When you complete an important task, your brain releases endorphins.
The feel-good chemicals.
Exactly. They make you feel positive, give you more energy, boost your enthusiasm, your self-esteem. You get this real sense of accomplishment. Tracy even calls it developing a positive addiction to success. That good feeling reinforces the behavior.
A positive addiction. Interesting. How do we actually build these habits then?
He uses the 3 Ds. First is decision. You have to consciously decide you're going to develop the habit of task completion.
Okay.
Second is discipline. You need the discipline to practice the principles over and over until they stick.
Right. Practice makes perfect or permanent.
Pretty much. And the third is determination. You got to have that grit to make sure the habit becomes locked in, part of who you are.
Decision, discipline, determination.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it all just about doing, or is there a mental side too?
Huge mental component. Visualization is key. He says you should constantly think about the rewards of being action-oriented. Picture yourself as someone who gets important stuff done quickly and well. Seeing it helps make it real.
Okay, that sets the stage really well. Let's dig into the principles. Chapter 1 is set the table. What's that about?
Set the table is all about clarity, absolute clarity of purpose. He quotes Napoleon Hill. There is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose.
Definiteness of purpose.
Yeah. Tracy argues clarity is maybe the most important concept in personal productivity. It's foundational.
Why is clarity so critical for, eating the frog?
Because vagueness is a major cause of procrastination. If you're confused or unsure about what you're supposed to be doing, why you're doing it, what order things go in, you're much more likely to just drift or do busy work.
Makes sense. If you don't know the target, how can you aim?
Exactly. The clearer you are on your goals and the steps needed, the easier it is to identify your most important task, your frog, and actually start working on it.
So how do we get this clarity? Any practical steps?
The number one rule: think on paper. Write things down.
Simple as that.
Sounds simple, but he points out something pretty startling. Only about 3% of adults actually have clear written goals.
Only 3%. Wow.
Yeah, but that tiny group, they accomplish 5 to 10 times more than people who might even be smarter or more capable but haven't written their goals down.
5 to 10 times. That's huge. That really hammers home the point.
It really does. It shows the incredible power of just writing it down.
Okay, so what's the method? How does he suggest we set these written goals?
He lays out a 7-step formula. It's pretty straightforward. 1, decide exactly what you want. Be specific.
Okay.
2, write it down. Physically write it. 3, set a deadline. And if it's a big goal, set sub-deadlines along the way.
Break it down.
4, make a list. Everything you can think of that you'll need to do to achieve the goal. 5, organize that list into a plan. Prioritize the steps. Put them in sequence.
Like a roadmap?
Exactly. 6, take action on your plan immediately. Don't wait for the perfect time. Just start. And 7, resolve to do something every single day that moves you towards that major goal. Even a small step. Keep the momentum going.
That feels very logical, very actionable. What happens when you actually write these goals down? What are the benefits?
Writing them down does a few key things. It motivates you. It kind of galvanizes you into action. It stimulates your creativity. You start seeing ways to achieve the goal. It releases energy. And yeah, it really helps overcome procrastination. It's like fuel for achievement.
And he gives a specific exercise for this chapter, right?
He does. He says, take a blank sheet of paper, list 10 goals you want to achieve in the next year.
10 goals.
Yep. Write them in the present tense, positively, first person, like I earn X amount or I weigh Y pounds, as if it's already true.
Okay.
Then look at that list. Pick the one goal that, if you achieved it, would have the greatest positive impact on your life.
Just one.
Just one to focus on initially. Write that goal on a separate sheet. Set a deadline. Make a plan. Take action on the plan immediately. And do something every day towards it. That's the exercise.
Powerful stuff. Okay, chapter 2. Plan every day in advance. Seems like the logical next step after getting clear on goals.
Absolutely. He quotes Alan Lekine here. Planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now.
Bringing the future into present. I like that.
And he uses that classic analogy. How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Exactly. Big tasks feel overwhelming. Planning breaks them down into manageable bites.
And he really highlights thinking and planning as our best tools against procrastination.
Definitely. Your ability to think, plan, make good decisions, that's your strongest weapon against putting things off, and your key to getting more done. He also throws in a quote from Alec McKenzie. Action without thinking is a prime source of problems.
So planning isn't wasted time, it's an investment.
A crucial investment. Tracy gives us the 6P formula. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance.
The 6 Ps.
Catchy. And he quantifies the benefit. He says just 10 to 12 minutes of planning your day can save you up to 2 hours in wasted time and effort later.
2 hours. For 10 minutes. That's an amazing return. What are his practical tips for planning?
Always work from a list. Always. And get in the habit of adding new tasks to your list before you start them. Don't just jump into unplanned stuff.
Okay.
He claims that simple habit alone can boost your productivity by 25% or more.
Wow.
And here's a key tip. Make your list the night before.
Why the night before?
Because it lets your subconscious mind work on the list while you sleep. You might wake up with ideas or solutions. It primes you for the day.
Interesting. And it's not just one big list, right? He talks about different kinds of lists.
Right. You need different lists for different horizons, a master list for everything you might want to do someday, a monthly list for the month ahead, a weekly list to plan the whole week,
Okay.
and then your daily list, which pulls from the monthly and weekly lists, detailing the specific things you'll tackle tomorrow. And he emphasizes ticking things off as you complete them. Gives you that visible sense of accomplishment.
Feels good to cross things off a list. What about big projects? How does planning apply there?
For big projects, list out every single step from start to finish. Then organize those steps by priority and sequence. What needs to happen first? What's most important?
Lay it all out.
Yeah, maybe even visually. Then just work the plan, one task at a time.
He also mentioned a specific ratio for planning time versus doing time.
The 10-90 rule. The first 10% of time you spend planning and organizing your work before you start can save you up to 90% of the time in getting the job done.
So that upfront thinking pays off massively.
Hugely. It highlights the leverage you get from good preparation.
And the exercises for this chapter are about putting this into practice immediately.
Exactly. Start planning daily, weekly, monthly. Now, list out what you need to do in the next 24 hours. Start organizing your major goals and projects by priority and sequence. Always work from a list. That's the takeaway.
Okay, Chapter 3 brings in the 80-20 rule. Many people have heard of this, but how does Tracy tie it specifically to eating frogs?
Right, the Pareto principle.
Yeah.
He starts with Goethe. We always have time enough if we will, but use it right. The 80-20 rule basically says that 20% of your activities will usually account for 80% of your results.
And that applies across the board.
Pretty much. He gives examples. 20% of customers might give you 80% of sales, 20% of products, 80% of profits. And crucially for productivity, 20% of your tasks will likely account for 80% of the value you produce.
So not all tasks are created equal. Some are way more valuable.
Exactly. You might have 10 things on your list, all taking about the same amount of time. But maybe 1 or 2 of those tasks are worth 5 or 10 times more than all the others combined.
And that high-value task, that's the frog.
That's often the frog, the one with the biggest impact, the one you should prioritize.
But we tend to put off those important ones, don't we?
Sadly, yes. He observes most people procrastinate on that vital top 10, 20%, the important stuff, and they keep busy doing the trivial bottom 80%.
Busy work. Looks productive, but doesn't move the needle.
Exactly. They focus on activity, not accomplishment. Checking off small things feels good, but it doesn't get you closer to your major goals.
So what's the advice? How do we fight that tendency?
Be ruthless. Refuse to work on the bottom 80% tasks if you still have top 20% tasks undone. Resist that temptation to clear the decks of small stuff first.
It's hard, though. Getting those quick wins feels productive.
It's a hard habit to break. But Tracy says the hardest part of an important task is just getting started. Once you begin, the motivation often follows.
Right.
And often, an important task doesn't actually take much more time than an unimportant one. But the satisfaction and the impact, totally different league.
So applying the 80-20 rule is about making conscious choices about where to spend our energy.
Precisely. He says time management is really life management. It's about controlling what you do next, choosing the important over the unimportant. Effective people start with the most important task. They eat that frog.
And the exercises here are about identifying our own top 20%.
Yes. Look at your goals, activities, projects, responsibilities. Which ones are in that top 10, 20% that deliver most of the value? The exercise is to identify them and then consciously decide to spend more time on those high-value areas and less time on the low-value stuff.
Okay, Chapter 4 moves to a longer view. Consider the consequences. How does that fit in?
This chapter's about long-term thinking. He starts with Orson Swett Martin. Greatness comes from confining powers to one channel. The core idea is that the true importance of a task, whether it's your next frog, is determined by its potential consequences, positive or negative, down the road.
So look ahead. What will happen if I do this?
Right.
Or if I don't do this?
Exactly. He even cites research by Dr. Edward Banfield from Harvard.
Oh, yeah. What did Banfield find?
Banfield found that long-time perspective is the most accurate single predictor of upward social and economic mobility, more important than family background, education, intelligence, connections, anything else.
Wow. Just the ability to think long term.
Yeah, people who think further into the future tend to make better decisions in the present. Having clear long-term goals helps you prioritize your short-term actions.
How does that define importance?
Simple rule. Important tasks have potentially significant long-term consequences. Unimportant tasks have few or none. Tracy says, future intent influences and often determines present actions.
And this links to delaying gratification.
Definitely. Successful people are willing to make short-term sacrifices for greater long-term rewards. Unsuccessful people tend to focus on short-term pleasure and immediate gratification, often without thinking about the long run.
So, when choosing what to do, ask about the long-term impact.
Yes. If a task has potentially large, positive consequences, it should be a top priority. If not doing something could have large negative consequences, dealing with that also becomes a top priority. That potential impact, positive or negative, is what gives a task its weight, makes it a frog. Motivation requires a motive, right? The bigger the potential positive impact, the more motivated you'll be.
He also mentioned the law of forced efficiency here.
Right. It basically says there is never enough time to do everything, but there is always enough time to do the most important things.
You can't do it all, so focus on what matters most.
Exactly. You can't eat every tadpole in the pond, but you can eat the biggest frog. That's enough for now.
What about deadlines in this context?
He points out that we often create our own stressful deadlines through procrastination. Rushing leads to stress and mistakes. Better to plan carefully, consider the consequences, and build in some buffer time.
And he wraps up with 3 key questions for productivity.
Yes, 3 crucial ones. First, what are my highest value activities? Identifying the frogs. Second, what can I and only I do that, if done well, will make a real difference? That's a classic Peter Drucker question.
Yikes.
And third, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? That's the core question of time management, he says. Do first things first, and second things maybe not at all.
And the exercises push us to identify tasks with big consequences.
Exactly. Review your tasks. Which ones, if done excellently and on time, have the biggest positive long-term impact? Determine the most valuable thing you could be doing each hour and focus on that.
Okay, Chapter 5 seems a bit counterintuitive. Practice creative procrastination. How can procrastination be good?
Huh. Yeah, it sounds weird, doesn't it? But the logic is simple. He quotes boardroom reports. Make time for getting big tasks done every day, since you absolutely cannot do everything.
You have to procrastinate on something.
Exactly. You just have to. The key is to be deliberate about what you put off.
So choose what not to do.
Precisely. High performers procrastinate on low-value stuff. They know their time is better spent elsewhere. Low performers, they often procrastinate on the important stuff, the frogs.
Okay. So it's about priorities versus, what does he call them?
Posteriorities. Priorities are things you do more of sooner. Posteriorities are things you do less of later, or maybe never.
Posteriorities, I like that.
The rule here is you have to consciously decide to stop doing lower value activities to gain control of your time and life.
Which means learning to say,
No. Politely, clearly, but learn to say no often to things that aren't vital. He mentions Warren Buffett supposedly saying his secret was saying no to almost everything that wasn't absolutely essential.
saying no is hard, though.
It is, but it's crucial. Getting into something new often means getting out of something old. Picking up one ball means putting another down. You can't do it all.
So creative procrastination is just thoughtful deciding what not to do.
Exactly. Deliberately choosing what won't get your attention right now, if ever. Procrastinate on purpose on the small stuff to free up time for the big, high-impact frogs.
We should be constantly reviewing our tasks with this in mind.
Continually look at your duties, your routines. Are there time-consuming things you could just stop doing without major negative consequences?
Here's an example, right? About golf.
Yeah, a friend who cut way back on golf to get his life back under control. It freed up huge amounts of time and mental energy. It's about setting those posteriorities. What are your untime-consuming activities? Maybe less TV, less aimless surfing, delegate or eliminate low-value work tasks.
And the exercises involve zero-based thinking.
Right. Ask yourself, knowing what I know now, if I weren't already doing this activity, would I start it today?
Ooh, that's a tough question for some things.
It is. Examine your personal and work activities. Pick at least one thing to abandon or postpone immediately. Free up that time.
Okay. Chapter 6 gets very practical with the ABCDE method. Sounds like a system.
It's a very powerful yet simple priority setting technique. He starts with William Matthews. First law of success is concentration. Investing that thought up front in planning and priorities pays off big time.
So how does ABCDE work?
First, list everything you have to do for the day. Again, think on paper.
Got it.
Then go through the list item by item and assign a letter. A, B, C, D, or E.
What do the letters mean?
A is for very important, must do. Serious, positive, or negative consequences. These are your frogs.
Okay, the big ones.
B is for should do.
Yeah.
Things you ought to do. Mild consequences if you don't. These are like tadpoles.
Tadpole's cute.
C is for nice to do. No consequences whether you do it or not, like calling a friend or having coffee.
Right.
D is for delegate. Anything someone else can do, get it off your plate. And E is for eliminate. Things you can just stop doing altogether. They make no real difference. Every minute on an E task takes away from an A task.
ABCDE. Okay, what about multiple A tasks?
If you have more than one A task, you prioritize them further. A1, A2, A3. Your A1 is your biggest, ugliest frog for the day.
And the rule is?
The crucial rule: never do a B task when an A task is left undone, and definitely don't do a C task. Focus on the A's first. Always start with A1.
And the D's and E's. Get rid of them.
Absolutely. Delegate everything you possibly can, the D's, and be ruthless about eliminating those E tasks. Just cut them out.
So once you've labeled everything,
You start immediately on your A1 task,
Mhm.
and you stay with it until it's 100% complete. Eat that whole frog. Don't nibble.
requires willpower, I bet.
Huge willpower,
Yeah.
especially just getting started and staying focused. But the act of thinking through your list, identifying that A1, that process itself is powerful. It boosts your sense of accomplishment, self-esteem, pride.
And doing this consistently pays off.
Massively. Developing the habit of focusing on your A1 task first thing will make you vastly more productive than people who just react to whatever comes up. You'll get more done, period.
And the exercises are just do this now.
Pretty much. Review your list right now. Apply ABCDE. Find your A1. Start it immediately. Work till it's done. Practice daily for a month until it becomes a habit.
Okay, chapter 7. Focus on key result areas. What does he mean by that?
This chapter asks a fundamental question. Why are you actually on the payroll? What results are you hired to deliver? He quotes Norman Vincent Peale. Focused mental and physical resources multiply problem-solving power.
So what are you paid to achieve, not just do?
Exactly. Your salary isn't just for showing up. It's for delivering a specific quality and quantity of work that leads to specific results. These are your key result areas, or KRAs.
And not being clear on those KRAs holds you back.
Big time. If you don't know what results you're truly responsible for, it hurts your performance, your pay, your chances for promotion. It's fundamental.
Can you give some examples of KRAs?
Sure. For a salesperson, it might be lead generation, sales presentations, closing sales. For a manager, maybe it's planning, organizing, staffing, delegating, supervising. For an admin, maybe it's typing speed, call handling, scheduling accuracy. Every job has maybe 5-7 key results expected.
So first step is identifying your KRAs. What's next?
Grade yourself, honestly. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you currently in each of your key result areas? Where are you strong? Where are you weak?
Ooh, that requires some honesty.
It does. And here's the kicker. Your weakest key result area usually sets the ceiling for how high you can go in your job.
Your weakest link limits everything else.
Pretty much. It acts like a drag on your overall effectiveness. If a manager is great at everything except delegating, that inability to delegate will hold them back significantly.
And we tend to procrastinate in our weak areas, right?
Often, yes. If you feel incompetent or lack confidence in a KRA, you'll likely avoid tasks related to it, which just makes the problem worse.
So the solution is get better.
Get better. Identify the weakness clearly. Set a goal to improve. Make a plan. Improving your skill in a weak KRA actually boosts your motivation and makes procrastination less likely. You might be just one skill away from top performance.
One skill. That's hopeful. How do you identify which skill?
Ask yourself this great question. What one skill, if I developed and did it in an excellent fashion, would have the greatest positive impact on my career? Focus your development efforts there.
And these skills are learnable.
Absolutely. Tracy insists all business skills are learnable. If others have mastered them, so can you. Becoming excellent in your KRAs is a direct path to stopping procrastination and getting more done faster.
And the exercises involve self-assessment and talking to your boss.
Yes, identify your KRAs. Grade yourself. Determine that one key skill for maximum impact. And definitely discuss your list and self-assessment with your boss to get their input and ensure you're aligned. Make it a regular review.
Okay, Chapter 8 introduces the Law of Three. Sounds intriguing.
It is. He starts with Teddy Roosevelt. Do what you can with what you have where you are. The core idea is simple. Out of all the things you do, probably only 3 tasks account for 90% of the value you contribute to your work or organization.
Only 3 tasks drive 90% of the value. That's even more focused than 80-20.
It often is in practice. Identifying and focusing on those big 3 core tasks is crucial for peak performance.
He tells a story about this, doesn't he? Cynthia?
Yes, a great story. Cynthia felt overwhelmed, had like 17 tasks on her plate.
Relatable.
Totally. So she asked herself, if I could only do one thing all day, which one adds the most value? Circled it. Then if I could do only 2 things, circled the second most valuable and the third.
And those 3.
She realized those 3 tasks accounted for 90% of her contribution. Everything else was lower value. She talked to her boss, they delegated or outsourced the rest.
And the result?
Doubled her output in 30 days. Boss doubled her income. And she went from working 10, 12-hour days down to a normal 8-hour day with more family time, just by focusing on her big 3.
Wow. That's a powerful illustration. Focus on contribution.
Exactly. Your rewards, financial, emotional, are tied to your contribution. Increase your contribution, especially in those key areas, and your rewards tend to follow.
He also has a quick exercise here, the quick list method.
Yeah, it's revealing. Take 30 seconds right now and write down your 3 most important goals in life. Go.
30 seconds. Okay.
That speed bypasses overthinking and often reveals your subconscious priorities. Usually falls into financial career, family relationships, and health fitness.
And then you expand on that.
Yeah, then do the same for different areas. 3 most important goals for business career, family, finances, health, personal development, community. Even your 3 biggest problems right now gives you a full picture.
And this links back to work-life balance.
Big time. Time management isn't just about work productivity. It's the means to an end. The end is completing important work and freeing up time for your personal life, relationships, happiness, which he says mostly comes from relationships, like 85%.
Quality time at work, quantity time at home.
That's the idea. Work all the time you work. Be focused. Start early, stay a bit later if needed, work hard, avoid distractions at work. That protects your time at home.
Balance isn't easy, though.
No, it's like walking a tightrope. Constant adjustment needed. But performing well at work makes it possible to have a higher quality of life at home.
So the exercises are, find your big 3 at work and your top 3 goals in all life areas, and work on them daily.
That's the essence of it. Identify, prioritize, plan, and act consistently across the board.
Chapter 9, prepare thoroughly before you begin. This sounds basic, but maybe easily skipped.
It often is skipped, which is a big mistake. He quotes James T. McKay. You have more potential than you can ever develop in a lifetime. Thorough preparation is a major key to overcoming procrastination. It's like cocking a gun or pulling back an arrow, building potential energy.
Like getting ingredients ready before cooking.
Exactly that analogy. Gather everything you need before you start the task. Clear your workspace desk, computer desktop. Have only what you need for that task in front of you. Put everything else away.
Get rid of the clutter, physical and digital.
Right. Have all the info, reports, materials, logins, whatever, right at hand so you don't have to get up and break your flow searching for stuff.
And the workspace itself matters.
Definitely. Make it comfortable, attractive, a place you want to work in for long periods. Good chair is crucial. A clean, neat space makes it easier to start and easier to keep going.
Lack of preparation kills projects before they start.
He says many projects never even get off the ground because of that lack of initial prep. But once you are prepared, launch immediately. Don't hesitate.
Doesn't have to be perfect though, right?
No. He shares his own rule. Get it 80% right and correct it later. Don't aim for perfection out of the gate. That's just another form of procrastination. Remember Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
So take the shot. Take the first step.
Take that first action. The rest often follows. Assume the body language of high performance. Sit up straight. Tell yourself, let's get to work, and dive in. Stay with it till it's done.
And the exercise is literally look at your desk and clean it up.
Huh? Pretty much. Look at your workspace, home, and office. Ask, what kind of person works here? Effective, organized, messy. Then resolve to clean it up completely. Create an environment that makes you feel effective and ready.
Okay, Chapter 10 uses that desert analogy. Take it one oil barrel at a time, tackling huge tasks.
Right. He starts with Samuel's smiles. Focus on one thing at a time, and that old saying, by the yard it's hard, but inch by inch, anything's a cinch.
Break it down.
Break it down. Overcome that feeling of being overwhelmed by a huge task by focusing only on the very next single small action. Like Lao Tzu said, a journey of 1,000 leagues begins with a single step.
And the oil barrels in the Sahara.
His story of crossing the Sahara, he couldn't see the final destination miles away. He navigated by focusing only on getting to the next oil barrel marker just 5 kilometers ahead. Then the next one. He crossed the whole desert that way.
Just focus on the immediate next step.
That's it. You accomplish the biggest things by taking one step, then the next, then the next. Just go as far as you can see right now. When you get there, you'll be able to see further.
Leap and the net will appear.
That's the spirit. Great lives, great careers. They're built by doing one task at a time, quickly and well. Think about financial independence. It's saving a little bit month after month. Fitness, eating a little better, exercising a little more, day after day.
So the way to beat procrastination on big things is just take that first small step.
Take the first step. That's the key.
And the exercise is, pick a procrastinated task, list the steps, and do just one step now.
Exactly. List all the steps, then do just one.
Right.
Right now. Often, just starting that one small piece gets the ball rolling, and you end up doing more.
Chapter 11, upgrade your key skills. Back to skill development. Why is this crucial for productivity?
Crucial. Quote here from Og Mandino. Give more and better service than expected. Basically, the better you are at doing your key tasks, your frogs, the more likely you are to just tackle them without procrastinating.
So feeling incompetent leads to putting things off.
Absolutely. If you feel inadequate, lack confidence, lack ability in a key area, you'll avoid it. That's procrastination often.
So continuous learning is essential.
Essential. Especially today, skills get outdated fast. He quotes Pat Riley. If you're not striving to get better, you're probably getting worse. Continuous learning isn't just nice, it's a minimum requirement for success. And it's a huge time saver in the long run. Better skills, more motivation, more energy, easier to beat procrastination.
Sometimes one new skill can make all the difference.
Totally. One piece of info, one new technique. So identify the skills needed for your important tasks and plan to continuously upgrade them. What others have learned, you can learn.
He shared his typing story here.
Yeah. Learning to touch type to write his books faster. It directly enabled him to achieve a major goal. You can learn anything. Computers, negotiations, sales, public speaking, whatever you need.
What's his 3-step plan for mastery?
1. Read in your field at least an hour a day, maybe first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
2. Take courses, go to seminars, attend conventions on your key skills. Take notes, buy the recordings, become an expert. 3. Listen to audio programs in your car. Turn drive time into learn time.
Build those mental muscles.
Exactly. The more you learn, the more confident and motivated you get. No limits except the ones you set yourself.
And the exercises involve identifying key skills needed now and for the future, and making a plan to develop them.
Yes. What skills improve results now? What are your future core competencies? Set goals, make a plan, start developing them, decide to be the best. Focus on where your talents and enjoyment lie too.
Okay, Chapter 12. Identify your key constraints. What's holding you back?
Right. Alexander Graham Bell. Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand. The idea here is between you and any goal, there's usually one major constraint or bottleneck holding you back.
The limiting factor.
Exactly. Find out what sets your speed, determines your progress. Why aren't you at your goal already? What's the choke point? It could be a person, a resource, a weakness in the system, or something in yourself.
And the 80-20 rule applies here too.
Often, yeah. He suggests 80% of constraints are internal personal qualities, habits, skills, things within your control or your company's control. Only 20% are usually external.
So look inward first.
Successful people start by asking, what in me is holding me back? Take responsibility. Be honest with yourself. Look at your skills, your habits, your fears. Also look at your organization, your boss, your team. Where's the bottleneck?
Accuracy is key here, isn't it? Misdiagnosing the constraint is bad.
Very bad. If you define the constraint wrong, your solution will be wrong. He gives the example of the company blaming sales for falling revenue.
When the real problem was pricing.
Exactly. You have to dig deep to find the real limiting factor. And once you solve one constraint,
another one usually appears.
right, progress is often about identifying and alleviating bottlenecks, one after another. Focus on the current biggest one.
And tackling a key constraint is often the most important frog.
Often, yes. Removing a key bottleneck first thing in the morning is incredibly energizing and makes huge progress possible.
So the exercises are: identify your biggest life goal and work goal. Find the main constraint for each. Ask what in you is holding you back, and take action.
That's it. Identify the constraint, take responsibility, and do something about it immediately.
Chapter 13. Put the pressure on yourself. Internal motivation.
Yes, Thomas Edison. Apply energy incessantly. Tracy says the world's full of people waiting for external motivation, like waiting for a bus that never comes.
Don't wait to be pushed.
Don't wait. Only about 2% of people work entirely without supervision, the leaders. You can be one of them. Develop the habit of self-pressure. Choose your own frogs. Eat them in order of importance. Don't wait for someone else to tell you.
Set your own high standards.
Exactly. See yourself as a role model. Raise your own bar. Go the extra mile. This builds self-esteem, your reputation with yourself. You feel better when you push yourself to do your best.
How do you create that pressure practically?
Use imaginary deadlines. Work as if you only have one day to finish something important. Imagine you have to leave town for a month. What must get done? Imagine you want a surprise vacation starting tomorrow. What would you rush to finish?
Create urgency, even if it's artificial.
Right. Successful people pressure themselves. Unsuccessful people need external pressure. Self-pressure leads to more done, better quality, faster work, builds a high-performance habit, makes you feel great.
And the exercises involve setting deadlines, creating forcing systems, raising the bar, and racing the clock.
Yes. Set deadlines and sub-deadlines for everything. Create your own accountability. Raise your standards. Make it a game estimate, time for tasks. Then try to beat your own estimate. Race yourself.
Chapter 14. Motivate yourself into action. Being your own cheerleader.
Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Supreme joys in high adventure, victory, and creative action. To perform at your best, you got to coach yourself positively. Your emotions mostly come from your inner dialogue, how you interpret things, not just what happens.
Control your thoughts, control your feelings.
Pretty much. Become a complete optimist. Choose to respond positively. Refuse to let difficulties drag down your mood. Control that inner voice. Tell yourself, I like myself. Tell yourself, I can do it, when doubt creeps in.
Fake it till you make it, almost.
To some extent. When someone asks how you are, say, I feel terrific. Even if you don't entirely. It can actually shift your state. Resolve to be cheerful. Remember Viktor Frankl, the last freedom is choosing your attitude. And stop complaining. Nobody wants to hear it anyway.
He mentions learned optimism here too.
Martin Seligman's work, yeah. Optimism is learnable and key to success and happiness. Optimists do 4 things. 1, look for the good in every situation. 2, seek the valuable lesson in every setback. 3, look for the solution to every problem. They're action-oriented. 4, think and talk continually about their goals. They're future-focused.
So optimism and positive self-talk fuels action.
Definitely. Visualizing goals, talking positively to yourself, it increases focus, energy, confidence, creativity, sense of control, and motivation.
And the exercises are: control your thoughts, focus on what you want, take responsibility, refuse blame, stay focused forward.
That's the core of it. Keep your mind positive and focused on solutions and goals.
Okay, chapter 15 hits a very modern nerve. Technology is a terrible master.
Timely, right, Gandhi. There's more to life than just increasing its speed. Tech can be your friend or your enemy. It becomes the enemy when we get obsessed with constant communication.
That need to be always plugged in.
Yeah, it leaves us psychologically breathless, no time to think, to reflect. The key is taking control of your relationship with tech.
He mentions Bill Gross unplugging.
Yeah, the PMCO guy.
Yeah.
Regular exercise, daily meditation, limits tech time strictly, yet never misses important stuff. It shows detachment is possible and beneficial. Unplugging improves memory, relationships, sleep.
It can become a real addiction though, can't it? Checking phones constantly.
Definitely. Checking the phone first thing, dopamine hits, constant checking all day, 46 to 85 times a day is typical. People underestimate it. He saw executives at lunch glued to phones right after saying grace.
So how do we break free?
Take back your time. He tells a story of a client chained to email for hours daily, stressed, not sleeping. Applied 80-20, deleted or unsubscribed from 80% of emails. Only 4% actually needed an immediate response.
Wow, only 4%.
Yeah. So refuse to be a slave. Unchain yourself. Unsubscribe ruthlessly. Use autoresponders. I check email twice daily at X and Y times. For emergencies, call.
That journalist who deleted 700 emails Gutsy.
Right. Just because someone sends you something doesn't mean they own your time. Delete more. Ignore more. Empower yourself. Unplug from constant news. Too important stuff will find you.
And the exercises are: create zones of silence daily and do a weekly digital detox.
Yes. Turn devices off for an hour, morning and afternoon, and try one full day a week, completely unplugged. Let your brain reset.
But then chapter 16 says technology is a wonderful servant. So how do we make it work for us?
It's about using it consciously, Melinda Gates. Technology is just a tool. Its purpose is to make life smoother, not more stressful. Focus on what's most important: work and life goals. Use tech to support those priorities and protect you from distractions.
How specifically?
Control your communication. Clear digital workspace, close, unused tabs and programs. Only have necessary channels open. Arrange windows for workflow. Crucially, turn off all notifications, audio, and visual pings. Check on your schedule.
All notifications? What about emergencies?
Create a specific emergency channel, a separate number or email just for key people, family, boss. Keep only that channel open. Segment your communication.
What about managing time with tech? Calendars.
Your calendar serves you. Don't auto-accept invites. Does it fit your priorities? Schedule large blocks for focused work as appointments in your calendar. Treat them seriously. Use digital to-do lists, but only add tasks aligned with priorities.
And dealing with tech frustration.
Tech skills are learnable, like any other skill. Don't say, I can't. Seek help. Tell your organization you want to learn. Everyone gets frustrated sometimes. Tech aptitude isn't limited by age or anything else.
Can tech actually be motivating?
Yes. Post stretch goals on social media for accountability. Update progress. Get those mini rewards, likes. Compete playfully with others, like writers sharing word counts. Make social media serve your goals. Don't be enslaved by it.
Exercises here. Turn off notifications, set up focused digital areas, find one tool to boost efficiency.
Exactly. Take control. Make tech your servant.
Chapter 17, focus your attention. Absolutely critical today.
Critical. Murti. All of life is the study of attention. Where attention goes, life follows. Focused attention, high performance. Distraction, diffused attention. Wandering mind, underachievement.
And tech is the big culprit for distraction.
A huge one. Research shows constant reaction to emails, texts, etc. harms the brain, shortens attention span, kills focus on important tasks. We talked about the dopamine addiction. Checking email gives a little buzz, pulls you away.
Makes it hard to focus later if you start the day that way.
Exactly. And multitasking, it's a myth. We just task switch rapidly, which is inefficient. It takes about 17 minutes to fully refocus after an internet interruption.
17 minutes. That's crazy. So you work harder but get less done.
And make more mistakes. Proven solutions. 1, don't check email first thing. Leave devices off. 2, if you must check, get in, get out, get back to work. Turn off sounds, vibrations. 3, check email only 2-3 times daily at set times. Turn it off in between. 4, devices OFF in meetings. 100% attention. Same at home.
He had that 90-minute focus block idea.
Yes. Double your productivity. 1, plan day, pick A1 task, start immediately. 2, work nonstop for 90 minutes, no distractions. 3, take a 15-minute break. 4, repeat another 90-minute block. 5, then check email as a reward.
3 hours of focused work, first thing.
Can double productivity, break the email addiction, regain control.
Exercises. Constantly ask, is this helping my goals or is it a distraction? Refuse to be a slave to the bells and whistles. Leave devices off when focusing.
That's the discipline required.
Chapter 18, slice and dice the task.
Yeah.
Back to breaking down big projects.
Right. Orison Swett Martin on habit being like a thread that becomes a cable. Big tasks seem scary, lead to procrastination.
So the salami slice method.
Lay out all the detailed steps. Then commit to doing just one slice for now. Makes it psychologically easy to start. Often you do one slice, then another.
Builds momentum.
And feeds that compulsion to closure, the urge to finish what you start. Completion feels good. Endorphins. Bigger task, bigger good feeling. Small steps forward energize you.
And the Swiss cheese method.
Similar idea. Commit to working on the task for just a short, fixed time, 5 or 10 minutes. Punch a hole in it, then stop if you want.
Just bite off a tiny piece of the frog.
Exactly. Just starting, even for 5 minutes, often breaks the inertia and you find yourself wanting to continue. Try both methods on tasks that feel overwhelming.
Right.
Remember the author's writing 1 page a day.
Small steps add up.
Sure.
Exercises. Use salami slice or Swiss cheese on a big procrastinated task now. Become action-oriented. Act on good ideas immediately.
Don't delay.
Chapter 19. Create large chunks of time, protecting focus time.
Neil Donald Walsh. Concentrate energies on limited targets. Important work needs large, unbroken blocks of time. Your ability to create and use these blocks is key to significant contributions.
Like salespeople scheduling prospecting time.
Exactly. Or executives blocking time for customer calls. Or scheduling daily exercise. Schedule appointments with yourself for your important work, 30, 60, 90-minute blocks, and keep them.
Treat them like real meetings.
Yes. Highly productive people build their days around these pre-planned work blocks. Use a time planner during the blocks. Phone off, distractions eliminated, work nonstop.
That getting up early trick again.
Working at home for 2-3 hours before the office chaos. Super productive for many. Make every minute count. Use travel time, gifts of time for small chunks of big tasks. Plan trips to work effectively on planes.
Exercises. Find ways to save, schedule, consolidate time into large blocks for important work. Make every minute count. Plan ahead. Work steadily. Focus on results.
Protect that focus time.
Chapter 20. Develop a sense of urgency, cultivating that bias for action.
Napoleon Hill. Don't wait. Start where you stand. High performers have this quality action orientation. They get things done quickly. They think, plan, prioritize, then launch. And keep going steadily.
Getting into flow.
That high level of continuous activity on important tasks can lead to that amazing mental state flow. Clear, effortless, accurate, happy, energized, calm, effective. It's the peak state of performance.
And urgency helps trigger flow.
It does. Develop that inner drive to get on with it quickly. A sense of impatience that motivates action. Urgency leads to a bias for action focusing on immediate steps. Fast tempo, a Boyer's success. Start fast, keep moving steadily. Faster you move, the more energy you have. Law of momentum. Overcoming inertia takes effort. Continuing takes less.
Build momentum.
Faster movement, more energy, more done, more effective, more learned, more competent. Urgency puts you on the fast track, boosts self-esteem, pride, sense of control.
The do it now mantra.
Repeat it to yourself to get started. If you slow down or get distracted, back to work. Develop a reputation for speed and quality. Invaluable.
Exercises. Resolve to develop urgency. Pick a procrastination area, act fast. See an opportunity problem, act now. Get a task, do it quickly, report back fast, move rapidly on important things.
Cultivate that inner fire.
Finally, Chapter 21. Single-handle every task, bringing it all together.
James Allen. Concentrate resources on a given point. Eat that frog. All the planning and prioritizing leads here. Pick the most important task. Start it. Concentrate single-mindedly until it's 100% done.
No multitasking, no distractions, just focus until finished.
Exactly. Once you start, keep going. No diversions. Use back to work if tempted to stop. This focus can cut completion time by 50% or more.
Starting and stopping is really inefficient.
Hugely. Can increase time by 500% due to refamiliarizing overcoming inertia repeatedly. Preparation plus unwavering focus builds energy, enthusiasm, motivation. Once you've picked your A1, anything else is a waste of time relative to that.
Discipline is key here.
Self-discipline. Albert Hubbard. Making yourself do what you should, when you should, whether you feel like it or not. That's the core of success. Starting and persisting on high-priority tasks tests your character, willpower, resolve. Persistence is self-discipline in action.
And succeeding builds more self-discipline.
Yes. Completing major tasks boosts self-esteem, makes future discipline easier, it shapes your character, makes you more competent, confident, happy, powerful, productive, master of your destiny, ascending spiral of effectiveness.
The key is always, what's the most valuable use of my time right now?
And then, eat that frog.
Exercises. Take action today. Select the most important task, start it immediately. Discipline yourself to persevere without diversion until 100% complete. Test yourself.
That's the final challenge.
So wrapping it all up, the big message from Eat That Frog is really about building that one core habit.
Of identifying and tackling your most important task, your frog, first thing every single day.
And it's learnable through repetition. It's a skill.
Absolutely. Get that habit locked in, and success is practically guaranteed.
It's been fascinating unpacking these 21 principles. It's definitely way more than just time management hacks. It's a whole philosophy for effective living.
It really is a comprehensive framework, and like Tracy says at the end, review these rules, internalize them, make them part of how you operate. His final words.
Just do it. Eat that frog.
Couldn't say it better myself.
Well, that was a fantastic deep dive into Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog. That central theme, identify your biggest, ugliest frog and tackle it first thing, really is powerful, isn't it?
It really is. And several key takeaways kept popping up: that 80/20 rule applied to tasks, the sheer impact of planning even just 10 minutes the night before, and really digging into what constraints are holding you back. Those feel like potential game changers.
Yeah, definitely moments where you think, I could actually do that differently. It's not about doing more, is it? It's about doing the right things, developing those habits of effective action.
Exactly. And we hope this focused look at Eat That Frog has given you, our listeners, some solid shortcuts to understanding these ideas and, more importantly, figuring out how to apply them in your life with your specific frogs.
So the question for you to think about now is, what is your biggest frog right now? What's that one thing you've been putting off? And based on everything we've talked about, what's one small step, just one action you can take immediately to start tackling it?
And if this resonated, definitely check out the full Eat That Frog audiobook or Brian Tracy's other work. There's a lot more depth there if you want to go further.
For sure. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Mastering your time, eating those frogs. It's really about mastering your focus and mastering your choices. Those small, consistent actions on the important stuff, they compound. They really do build in as significant achievements over time.